So we were all already aware, well aware at that roaming millennial was a complete dunce. But I really was not aware that it was to this point. I am genuinely shocked at what I saw. Now, this isn't something that was like an original thought that she said. If you look at if you look at the replies of the tweet that she's responding to, they're all saying what she said because she doesn't have really many thoughts. She's an interesting mix of a mini Dave Rubin plus Shapiro's Judeo-Christian values thing. It's really weird, a really weird combo to say the least. But here is what happened. So of course, we just had the biggest government shutdown, the longest government shutdown in American history. In fact, right now it's only temporarily funded, which means we're going to have to deal with funding it again soon. So Chuck Schumer sent out this tweet. I'm not really a fan of Chuck Schumer, by the way. And he said, this shutdown cost the U.S. economy $11 billion, including $3 billion in economic activity that can't be recovered. Let me repeat, the hashtag Trump shutdown cost the U.S. economy $11 billion. What a devastating and pointless exercise this has been. And then he says, Trump, no more shutdowns. So, of course, this shutdown was 1,000% on Trump. He even admitted to it himself in his conversation with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, where he said, I'll be the one to shut the government down. I'm not going to blame you. It's the Trump shutdown. That's his words, not mine. He said that. So he admitted to that fact, and that is what it is, right? And so she responded to this saying, seems like you probably should have just given Trump the $5 billion for the wall then. What? I'm sorry. What? That doesn't make any sense. Think about what this means, guys. This means that anytime a president doesn't get the funding he wants and he decides, you know what, I'm just going to effectively filibuster and just block the government and have it in a shutdown because I'm not getting my funding. And because the costs of, the government being shut down to the economy, you have to immediately, automatically, give the president what they want. There's no such thing as negotiating. By the way, recall that the border wall funding, I believe it was like 30% of Americans want border wall funding. So that means 70% want no border wall funding. They don't support border wall funding in the spending bill. So you're talking here about the vast majority of Americans in agreement with the Democrats who passed 9 appropriation bills. 9 appropriation bills were passed in the House by the Democrats. None of those were voted on by the Senate. Cocaine Mitch was blocking them. He blocked all of them. And Trump is, the doofus being Trump. And by the way, this is all a political stunt, too, because remember that he had control of Congress for 2 years. So how are you going to have control of both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, and then you're going to shut down the government immediately once the Democrats come into office? Wow, gee, I wonder why. I wonder why he did that. It's totally not a ploy to his base and just pandering to his base because he now can act like, I'm fighting for the wall, but these Democrats won't give it to me. So this is utterly ridiculous. And also, how the fuck can you rationalize the president holding the government hostage for funding for anything? That doesn't make sense. You're talking about the government blocking the government from opening up because, he's not getting funding for what he wants. And by the way, imagine the roles are flipped. Let's say Bernie Sanders is demanding funding for something like healthcare, right? President Bernie Sanders. We're looking at 2024. Okay, let's say it's 2022, 2024, whatever. And he wants healthcare funding. And, the Congress won't give it to him. You think that roaming millennial is going to say the same thing in response to Bernie Sanders? Demanding the money for that healthcare? You think that she's going to do that? Yeah, fucking right. And I don't even think that I don't even know if she genuinely believes in her positions or not, but She sent I guess she tried sending a follow-up because this tweet was so dumb, saying Trump is compromised on the size, what, and the scope of the wall. He's even tried to put dreamers on the table in the hopes of bringing Dems to the table. You and Pelosi have been the ones unwilling to negotiate. This is on you. What? How do you if you're compromising on the size of the wall, doesn't that just make it obsolete? What's the point? I don't understand that. And this it's utterly ridiculous, man. The majority of Americans don't support this. The Democrats were funding the government and they were shutting it down. Nobody supports this dumbass wall that you are demanding. And just imagine the roles reversed. And they were in 2013, but in a totally different way. In 2013, there was Obamacare, which was passed as law. It was signed into law through this thing called Congress. And the Republicans, the Freedom Caucus to be specific and precise, was holding the government shut down. Ted Cruz holding the government shut down because they were trying to block funding for a bill that was literally passed as law. So the roles were flipped, but not in the way that you would want. Because in that one, there was literally no rationalization for it whatsoever because of the simple fact that that was actually already passed as law. So there was no excuse for this. Trump said he'll shut it down. If you want border wall funding, you have to win over Congress and you have to win over the people to even the most basic extent, okay? You can't have it where 30% of America agrees with you, Congress doesn't agree with you, and you're still going to get what you want. And for that, you're going to hold paychecks of almost 1 million workers hostage. You can't do that. That doesn't make sense. It's irrational. It's stupid, and most importantly, it's indefensible. And so basically, you're in a position now where if any single president blocks the government for whatever funding, and that funding is less than the damage caused by this shutdown, well, now every president can get all the funding they want for whatever the hell, because just shut it down, and, because the numbers are going to outweigh it, shit, we got to give them the money. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? You have to do it. You have to give it up. I mean, it is what it is. And again, remember, if it's Bernie or if it's whoever progressive is president, Democrat, even they have to be progressive. You think she can be saying the same thing? Fuck no.